Hey, what's up? Welcome to Wrestling for the Weekend, November 19th, 2023. I'm here with Chris. We're going to be reviewing Full Gear and a bunch of other fun stuff. How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Actually, just wrapped up watching the rest of Full Gear probably about a half hour ago now, so it's fresh on my mind.
Fantastic. Yeah, I watched it live last night. Um, Really good pay-per-view. Some interesting stuff to talk about. Lots of interesting stuff to talk about, in fact, because there was a lot of good matches, but also some interesting revelations. An angle that kind of lasted through the show, which is something that
A lot more story stuff, and even not even just
Yeah.
the angle. Yeah, like just and not I guess not really stories, but just like I feel like more interviews mixed in throughout too. Like some of it was like Continental Classic stuff, like
That's
like
right.
Eddie's promo introducing I think who was it, Mark Briscoe
Mark
video
Briscoe,
package,
yeah.
that kind of stuff. I feel like they just normally don't do a lot of that stuff. Even at the Osprey segment, I mean, they've done that before with big signings, but it's not like every pay per view or anything. So yeah, I felt like a little bit more of that. But I will say before we get into individual matches, I can't believe how fast it flowed. Like looking back through the card, especially some of the match times. And we're talking about this extra stuff, and they still finished before 4 hours on the main card. Like,
Yeah, I think
I don't know how, honestly.
I believe 357 was about the total
Yeah,
runtime for the main card. And
that's actually exactly what Bleacher Report said when I was
there you
rewatching
go.
it.
There you go. Because I actually checked this morning too when somebody asked how long it
And I
was.
believe the pre-show was an hour and a half, but I don't think there were any matches until after the first 30 minutes. The first one may have started a little earlier.
So technically, it was like two shows the way it ran.
They did lead into the second hour, yeah. But
So
on
like
YouTube, it was like all one stream, and also on Bleacher Report, it was. So yeah, it's kind of
exactly, but on Fight it was two. It was like the first
yeah.
half an
That
the
makes
first
sense.
half hour was only on YouTube. So it was like a pre-show.
Mm.
Like
That makes
opening
sense because they
ceremony.
did that before. I remember that they actually didn't have their first half hour on Bleacher Report, and it may not have been this time for all I know, actually, because I watched the whole pre-show on YouTube.
They did something similar for All In. The only difference is that All In
Yeah, that's
they threw in a random ass match like which wasn't supposed to happen. So that was weird.
No, I don't think it was a match. I think it was two segments. It was like the Hobbs and Miro, like I think it was
That's
like
what
a
it
contract
was. Yeah.
signing, and fucking Grado appeared. Remember? And I don't think it was an actual match though.
Yeah, man. That's what it was. Yeah,
But that was all
the Grado
before. Yeah,
Jarrett
like the
stuff.
half hour before that. I think they announced the next. They've done it every time since. I believe they've announced it since, but they did not announce that beforehand. All in, like, kind of peeved about that.
Yeah. Another thing too, they did this on this pre-show during the matches. We'll get into it in a second, match per match. But once again, they did an angle at the end, either an angle or something meaningful at the end of the first hour of the pre-show to make people kind of like tell you like, hey, you might want to watch a pre-show because like stuff can actually happen here, and it did. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool too. We can get right into it because there is a lot to cover, and then there's a few other things besides Full Gear we want to look at. Hopefully, we'll have time for that. So let's get right into it. We'll start with 0 Hour. They started off with the ROH World Championship match between Eddie Kingston and Jay Lethal. It's a pretty decent match. I remember it's the I don't remember the match as well as some other matches. I'll be honest, because with 11 matches on the card, it gets a bit difficult to remember everything spot by spot. I do remember it being quite physical for an opening contest, though.
It only went like probably like 10 minutes or so, I think, from what I remember seeing. But yeah, they hit really hard. There's a little, the interference with like Lethal's crew, but I don't think it was over the top or anything.
No, it
they're
wasn't
so
that
funny. Like fucking Sanjay just kills me. And you had the Ortiz making the save for Eddie.
Yes,
and they
that was
kind of like
significant.
they even kind of acknowledged like nothing really happened. Just like they kind of came to their senses. They didn't want to fight each other after the turn, and I'm okay with that. I don't need a whole big thing when the turn itself was a little like, like why
I
are
didn't
they
like
fighting?
the turn.
So yeah, I'm definitely cool with that. Makes sense with how they had got involved with Ortiz prior to. So yeah, I was cool with all that. I did like the ending a lot, especially where I believe it was like Kingston caught a lethal injection, hitting with the suplex. and just wrecking with some back fist. Thought that was cool. But other than that, I mean, I'd say it was a standard. Your Eddie King, it's going to be your Eddie Kingston Continental Classic.
Yeah, that's going to be a template for a lot of his matches. I agree.
The crowd was not quite as hot, especially at the beginning, because they were still filing in, as I think the announcers even said.
They were.
Which I kind of didn't like that this world title match necessarily was your very first match because of that part of it. But
yeah, that's fair.
You had the angle for the last match, so that kind of definitely needed to go last because you wanted fans in the building for that, all of them, as many as you could. And you also had what was the second match? Oh, Buddy and Claudio. That one I probably would have opened with first, even though I do think it was actually. We'll get to it, but I think it was a better match than this title match.
It was a better match.
A world title match should not be like very first on your pre-show when it is a recognized world title, regardless of your thoughts of the brand, and it's possibly unified in something else anyway.
Yeah,
kind of, and just like
Ideally, if MJF is not your tag champion, like you would have this match as the final match of the pre-show, which is usually where they actually use Eddie. Usually, they almost always use him as the top of the pre-show card because he usually does his hype up stuff afterwards. So I actually agree with you on that point. It's a fair point.
Honestly, if it wasn't for the whole wanting all the fans in the building, I would have opened with the ROH tag title match. Because it's also kind of like a kayfabe pet peeve of mine that companies don't do a lot and don't even fucking did it on Rampage. If you have someone working 2 nights, you should realistically in kayfabe as a promoter, booker, owner, or whatever, accommodate them by putting them as far apart from each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did it with poor Trent on the Collision Rampage thing.
Dude, he got screwed. He got absolutely screwed.
Yeah. So that's another reason why I kind of have a little nitpicks about the pre-show match order. But like I said, it's nitpicks, and I do understand why they did it the way they did it too. But overall, yeah, great match and great ROH World Title match. I'd say it was probably the same quality we would have seen if it was on ROH TV. Would have been better if it was Final Battle, for instance. But obviously, there's other plans for the title.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that a little bit.
Final Battle now. But yeah, we can because ROH title's involved. And,
yeah, because I have the same exact thought as you. Like I was almost certain they were going to stretch this feud out to that.
I have another thing.
DVD.
Yeah, and I would have been fine with it at Final Battle.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, even though it wouldn't have been my preferred choice, I would actually prefer Dalton Castle, as I've been saying. But still, fine especially with ROH history. But one more thing too with the Continental Classic, and because Eddie's in it and Mark Briscoe's in it, is Mark Briscoe even going to do the TV title thing like we were expecting? If he doesn't because of this, that's okay. It's a bigger thing for sure. But yeah, I just wonder because that felt kind of certain to me.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
I'm thinking of Final Battle specifically, I guess, because I'm gonna be there. I'm like, what am I gonna see? Because I had some ideas, and now I'm like, I don't know now.
And how is this gonna work, right? Because you've got Eddie doing the Continental Classic, which is gonna be happening, and it's not gonna be wrapped up
until the very end of the year,
until after DVD. Mm-hmm. So how is he gonna? He's also said we're gonna talk about it later. He says he's going to put up his title in every match. I'm not sure if he meant it that way, or if he meant or if he really means that he's kind of giving those belts up to the tournament, and then whoever wins the tournament gets all 3, which would make more sense. But at the same time, I don't know. We'll see how it works because
I actually wouldn't mind hot potatoing of the belts, where just whoever has them after beating Eddie just carries it, but it'd just be funny since it's points based if the person that actually has it when the finals are set is not in the final.
Well, because technically that could happen, right? So that's I don't think that it makes sense for him.
Upset the last night from someone with 0 points and beating the guy that ends up winning it, but technically would win the belts.
Because in a way, it's kind of telegraphing that Eddie has to be in the finals, but at the same time, with the people who are already in it, I'm like,
he might not be.
It might not be because first of all, Danielson's in the fucking tournament. So automatically he's the favorite right now. I don't think he can. There's no.
Of the people announced so far, I think I put Eddie over Andrade and Mark Briscoe as a finalist potential now.
Me too, but if what Takesha is tweeting is true, then I would
exactly.
I would put Takesha as number 2 easily.
And there's 12 total, so who knows, man.
So if Takesha's in it, then it's easily Danielson and Takesha as the 2 favorites for now.
Yeah.
As good as Eddie is, Takesha beat Omega. It's kind of a different thing. Different beast. Actually, he's beaten. Oh, no, he hasn't beaten Daniel. He lost to Danielson. So that also could be the final easily because I mean they could run that back. But yeah, so that's really interesting. I don't know what they're going to do for Death before this honor at all with this world title. If he's even going to defend it at all, he could technically not. That would be
because he's in the tournament, like yeah.
But then, like, I don't know.
I assume MJF's probably not fucking defending either.
He should. He should though. If they want to sell some of that, I mean,
yeah, defend against the boys or some shit. I don't care.
It depends too. Like, is Ronda going to be there too?
That'd be insane. If not Ronda, I mean, there's the Thunder Rosa.
The Billy. I mean, it could just be Billy again.
Oh, and Billy, yeah, of course.
I mean,
there's three good possibilities, I'd say, for a team.
I mean, Billy would be my favorite as far as like what I want. Ronda would obviously be the best.
Ronda.
I mean, Ronda's gonna like. I know people don't want to admit, but like she's gonna help sell pay-per-views if she's on that pay-per-view. Like, there's no doubt about it in my mind. Just out of people are gonna be curious, and just to see what she can do outside.
And no one that dislikes Ronda should be mad she's in ROH. They're probably not watching ROH anyway.
That's what I mean. It's fake outrage. People who are mad at this, it's like you don't even watch this, so you don't care. I'm sorry.
If you like Ronda, you can be like, why is she on ROH instead of AEW? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but then Tony's gonna be like, cool, you can pay me to watch her. Get her.
And also, like, research Ronda's choice. So.
And, I think it's.
I guess we should have said spoiler alert before talking about that, but
I mean, it's past 24 hours of Ronda.
It hasn't aired actually. It's for taping.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, everybody. If you're watching this podcast, I'm sorry if you didn't know that. It's all over the internet, so you probably already know. But yeah, Ronda's doing some shit.
Yeah, that's insane. I love that Tony spoiled it without actually saying it was her, though. But I saw his tweet and I knew 100% what happened without ever actually seeing
by the wording. Yeah.
Yeah,
he actually
justified holy shit chance for Marina Shafir's partner, but whatever.
Like
yep. Like
yeah, and like he did talk about it in the post in the scrum.
Yeah,
he confirmed that she does not have a deal whatsoever with AEW, which I think is awesome. Honestly, I think it's like
I'm so down for her to just do whatever indie event she wants.
It's better. I think I don't know. I'm all about wrestlers like doing whatever is best for them and having fun.
PWG is able to start running shows again next year. Oh my god, she's gonna do a PWG match. It's her favorite fucking promotion ever. Like
that's right. I could see her too. Like I would now that she's not in WWE, she could easily do like men on women matches and like no one would care. Like she could go to GCW right now and do intergender match and like it would rule.
Fucking imagine if Brett Lauderdale got her booked.
No, man. You know what? Fuck it, man. I want Ronda Rousey versus Joey Janela. Let's fucking go.
In a blood sport.
Sure. Or in a death match. Just do a death match. Why not?
Ronda Rousey in town WrestleMania weekend next year would be hilarious and not in WWE.
Oh, man. You're right. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's move on. Yeah,
yes, we got distracted.
But we already kind of talked about it. But just another, definitely a pre-show match here, even though in-ring quality is fucking excellent, but it was Buddy Matthews versus Claudio Castagnoli. Just insane. And what I assume before we actually get the match itself is leading to a wider House of Black versus Blackpool Combat Club feud that's definitely brewing here. Yeah.
They've been brewing that for a bit too, before they got involved in the LFI kind of like vortex thing.
Yeah, when House of Black returned and kind of like got involved with everyone, that was one of the people.
And I feel like had Danielson not gotten immediately injured, I feel like that's what they were going to do. And I actually think this four-way was a little bit of a Tony Khan pivot that was good. So I will give him credit when he does pivot well.
There's a couple of pivots tonight too that I will get to when we get there. That's actually one of them. It's only one more.
But I agree with you that I think this is more the beginning of a feud than the end or a random match.
But what a great match though. Honestly, like these two are amazing.
Yeah, they had great chemistry.
Honestly, Buddy Matthews honestly blows me away every time he's in a ring, and really Claudio too. I should say that Claudio has just wrestled more singles lately, but like, oh my god, Buddy's so good.
He is. Like I was gonna sing Claudio's praises because I think he might be the best bass in the world, like ever.
Yeah,
because he's so big and strong.
He just seems like he's still getting stronger. Like,
and like
he's not doing like any crazier feats of strength than he used to. It's just the ones he does, they look like they're 1,000 times easier than they used to, and that's absurd.
But he just picks up people like they're children. Yeah, and because it's not WWE, he looks a lot bigger too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one thing, even though
Um,
WWE got smaller, like it's still like he
yeah.
looks huge compared to some
I
people, man.
forget which announcer brought it up. I think it was Nigel, but he's one of the few men uh, who can say they've actually power slammed Paul White because he did it in WWE. I guess I don't actually remember it, but I'm 100% sure it happened. And
And it
then,
was
but he
live.
actually led that into putting over Powerhouse Hobbs, who wasn't even on the pay per view, right? But I thought that was cool that Nigel put over Cesaro and basically someone that is being built as a bigger star now who just didn't make the pay per view because his big match was on Dynamite this week. I thought that was really
Yeah,
good
yeah,
by
yeah.
Nigel, who was amazing all night, doing a lot of comedy or stuff like that.
Not Nigel.
He actually, no, speaking of in this very match, he explained the logic of a European uppercut and why it is so dangerous and why wrestlers take it like they do to protect themselves in kayfabe, like they bend over. Because if you take it straight up, you're going to break
Knocked
your,
out.
it's more likely you break your jaw and get out. Yeah. He just
See, I
went off
missed
on
that,
that
but
because I
that's
think
freaking awesome.
Excalibur led into it. Like, hey, can you explain this? Or maybe Shivani said it. And yeah, he went on and just had that right off the bat ready. And it's like, holy fuck,
Nigel's been
so
like
good.
the last few weeks, specifically like on Collision and on this pay per view
Mhm.
and the week
That
before
weekend
that. He's
Rampage,
so
the
good.
not the night, not this past Rampage, but the last one that was live with Collision that was taped before it, but still aired Saturday when it was him and it was Kevin Kelly, right? I don't think it was
Yeah,
Tony
it was
Schiavone.
Kevin
Yeah,
Kelly.
it was just them two. Man, he was so good.
He's just I don't know, man. He's I used to really love, well, I still do. I really like the Dynamite team, the classic team.
Mm-hmm.
But the Collision team, just because of Nigel, is really growing on me because he's just so good. And honestly, Kevin Kelly's getting better every week. I know I was
And
harsh
both
on him
of
at
them too
first.
are so good at building their own lore to just add to feuds of just like Nigel picking these random allegiances who he likes and dislikes, and sometimes it's not even on the face heel divide, even though he does lean towards heels. And it's just so fucking funny.
Danielson, right?
Just let me go on this one little small tangent. When the tail end of his WWE career, when they only had him calling like Level Up for whatever reason, maybe even still in 205. I don't remember if it had rebranded yet. But the Chase U gimmick was just starting out, and they were heels at first. Andre Chase was, and like the student that got fired, they were heels before they just got over and kind of turned naturally.
I remember that.
And Nigel was a big fan of them, because they were cheesy heels. And he was like talking about how he had professor emeritus status at Chase University and blah blah blah. And then when they turned babyface, he started having heat with them and said that they took away his class
His
and
honorary class.
because to give more like free tuition to people that didn't deserve it or something, he just started bashing them every week. And the dude's so
Oh
awesome.
man, like see, that's the kind of stuff like I haven't. It's missing in a lot of wrestling. Like there's
The
not a lot
commentary,
of
even the ones
true
I like, they
heels.
don't do a lot of this little stuff too. Oh, okay, you were going to more the
I
heelish
was
stuff,
going with
yeah.
like yeah, because just
But
like
yeah,
I haven't seen that stuff since like I know Corey Graves for a portion of his
he
run
is.
did
He's
it,
just annoying for the most
but he's
part. I
not.
will say he does it fine. Like he's 100% what people are saying when they mean that. He's just annoying. More
Yeah,
annoying and not as good to me. But
yeah, it's
and
not as
yeah,
good.
he's good and he has his moments. I won't even deny that. But
But like King was really good at that stuff too. Like when he wasn't being like a
also
creep.
for
But
a smaller period of time than I think I give him credit for. But when I found him good, oh my god, yes, he was amazing
yeah,
for it. But I just think he got annoying quicker
he
than
got
some
very
people.
annoying as well. But like yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, they both. It's something that I personally really like in wrestling is that one like really heelish announcer. That's not necessarily like you said,
Mhm.
not always going with the heels, but like he just picks a
I want
lane.
them to just have consistent opinions too. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. And if a babyface cheats, don't go all like super crazy against it. Be like, they've come to our side. I love that stuff so much better, because
yeah,
that's more annoying than, because if the heel announcer is mad that the babyface is cheating, you want to cheer what the babyface is doing regardless. So you're going to cheer the cheating, which sometimes it's fun anyway. I'm not saying that's always completely bad. But if the babyface announcer or the heel announcer is like, oh look, he's being converted, he's or whatever, he's turning to the dark
he's
side,
finally
yes,
using his brain.
yeah, you're like, oh shit, should we be worried? Yeah, like that stuff, like that's the intention you should convey most of the time when you have the big face doing that stuff.
Yeah, it just makes you. You have to like
A
make
lot of that stuff is a lost art. That's like when I watch some old wrestling, like not to sound like some of these old heads and everything, but you can watch the most basic ass like fat workers from the 80s, but the announcers do that kind of psychology with it and it just makes it so much better.
yeah, it makes them actually look like they're dangerous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this match. We'll go back to the match. Like
Yeah.
to give my thoughts on it. Like it was a fire ass match. Like this like the like spinning spot was really good. Like the swing spot always great.
Mm-hmm.
Claudio winning, I think, is also the right decision. And all due respect to Buddy, he didn't really need that win right now. He's not really being primed up quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have Buddy win that match, it probably have to be dirty somewhat. I think just because Claudio's been pushed as such a force, like maybe a little off and on at times, but oh my god, he's got some crazy huge wins. Like,
Yes,
you know,
and I think it was intentional as well to have all of House of Black lose but one person. I think that was intentional.
they definitely made a point of it on commentary.
It spotlights, yes,
Yeah.
multiple times, yeah, and it just kind of spotlight her. So we'll get into that after, but I thought that was effective as well. Last match of the pre-show, we've got Samoa Joe and MJF against the Guns. I actually don't remember much about the actual match.
I mean, it was very basic. I think the only thing I have to say about the actual like match, like wrestling wise itself, was fucking Samoa Joe, bro. Why did he think he needed to go this hard on a pre-show match? Man was doing dives. He did dives.
Did you see also? I think Jake posted it. He like did the like nope to one of the Guns, and like MJF like had to turn around to laugh.
Yeah,
Joe honestly worked most of this match.
Yeah, and then I mean, and after the big news is the angle that happened after where they took out Max's knee, and after Joe helped retain, and well, I guess we should say too. So part of the deal is, apparently Max started to say, well, it was only verbally agreed upon, but hey, I learned in my business law class that verbal agreements are binding, and that was still advice, so he ain't getting out of that. Joe should get a world title shot in some way. It can be maybe worked into a multi-man, but Joe's got to get that title shot.
Knowing Tony Khan's love for Mr. Joe as well, there ain't no way he's not going to give him that shot. Plus, in kayfabe, I believe that Tony Khan would be very afraid of Samoa Joe anyways.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But so kind of to lead into the main show, though, we had the angle, MJF getting taken out. Adam Cole was with him, obviously, because he did come in, actually did the distraction to help them win.
Right.
He got a huge pop, in his entrance, obviously. Because he was
looking scraggly and untanned as hell.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Looks pale as fuck.
But, so then I believe the actual opening of the show continued the angle, though. I don't think it was on pre-show of Max being taken in the hospital. I believe that's how the pay-per-view opened.
On the main show.
Yeah. And he's yelling, don't let them take my title. Just, really, really trying to audition for Hollywood, I think.
Hamming it up.
The strike's over.
For sure.
Yeah. And, and then I think that you didn't have any answers yet because there was a few segments, sprinkled throughout that progressed this angle after, every couple matches or show. So, at that point, we're starting the pay-per-view, and Max is loaded up in the hospital. I assume most people live were thinking, for sure, what did happen, he was going to come back, in the ambulance or whatever. But I don't think anyone thought like the middle stuff that we'll get to when we get there was going to happen, which is kind of funny. That's what I mean by it course corrected throughout the night, because what you were originally thinking was going to happen happened.
But then it didn't
in a very roundabout way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I believe that they did the announcement for Cole versus Jay White after the first match. I think that's when it was.
It was after that or after the second for sure.
Yeah, one of those two.
Sadly, don't have that on the card right now. I'm looking.
That's okay. I'm pretty sure it was after the first match because I remember this being like a
thorough. Yeah, I do think there was a bit between the first and second because I remember thinking halfway through second, holy shit, I'm only on the second main card match.
Yeah. And then we opened after that. The ambulance scene. We opened with the 6-man tag between Sting, Copeland, and who the heck is he? Oh,
Darby.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darby
against Ric Flair in their corner.
With Ric Flair in the corner, who got his own entrance to another huge pop, which is just whatever.
Yeah.
But the entrance, one of the entrances of the night. Not I wouldn't say it's the entrance of the night because I think that was Swerve for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the patriarchy came out with their own choir, Evanescence like choir. Yes. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, that was awesome. Luchasaurus looks kind of weird. He's wearing his fucking dinosaur mask, but yeah, that group is it's definitely over with me more and more every week.
I love the name. I'm not even sure if that name was planned to be there,
I don't know.
or if it's just because Nigel said it on commentary and they're like, that
Yeah.
rules. Let's use that. Either way, it's
Yeah,
really
it's actually funny. Like, I've actually, when I was making my predictions for the show, I had like the face team highlighted and was about to like bold them. I'm like, nah, and I switched last minute, which ended up being wrong. But I'm like, I really thought they were actually going to even end up winning.
I
The
mean, they
inaugural.
could, they easily could have because
Yeah.
I feel like Darby could have easily taken a pin. Sting could have easily taken a pin as well to kind of add intrigue to things, and it wouldn't have been
No,
that bad.
I actually disagree. I would not have Sting lose on his retirement tour until A, the last match, or like B, if he has like one last world title challenge. I don't think I'd
Sure,
have him
that's
taking
fair.
any
That's
pins.
fair.
But I do agree, Darby, especially because they said he was off to climb Mount Everest. Like they said he was taking a red eye. Like I thought that shit was next year though. But I don't know.
You
But if
think
he's
he's
leaving to
actually
do that,
climbing
yeah, he can
Everest?
take a fucking pin. What?
Do you think he's actually climbing Everest, or if it's going to be like kayfabe Everest?
No, I think he's gonna actually try. I just don't know if he'll succeed.
Guy's fucking insane.
I remember a few years ago, it's probably about a decade ago now, JBL got on this like weird mountain climbing kick when he was retired and not doing commentary for WB, like in between. And he climbed a few bigger ones successfully. Like he was talking about Everest and he was like, nah, fuck that.
Ain't no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
People
He never
die very
really
often
tried,
there. I mean, at least he's not doing K2 because I feel like that's more dangerous, but like Everest is pretty insane. But
Yeah,
this
but
match.
so speaking of Darby though, that fucking choke slam, bro. A human should not bounce like that. Like that was bad.
He doesn't give a shit, man. It's so insane. Like, I feel like he almost made a point of taking that bump too, because the other day he was talking about how like, oh, whatever, like people said I would be dead by 30 or I'd be feeling it by 30, but I feel fantastic.
He's not even 30 yet though, is he?
I don't know, whichever one they
Oh my
said, but like
god.
he's just like he's
Bro,
got.
I feel he's been doing way too much the last few months. I feel like it's been worse.
Yeah, maybe Everest is like
Starting with those
a more of a slowing down for him in a weird way.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't fall off the damn mountain. Like,
or a breeze freaking pushes him out because he's like as light as a feather and made of rubber.
but overall, I would just say like in general, yeah, I thought this was a great match. I thought, and I said in the chat, I don't know that I would have actually considered this to open the pay-per-view, but I think in hindsight, like it was a great choice to open the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Other than Darby, they didn't just go too crazy.
No.
But it was hot and they got the crowd, ready to go for everything. I hate to say it, but Ric Flair's involvement was really good.
I know. I'm actually pissed off to agree with you.
Like
it was like just enough.
Was the funniest shit.
The low blow was great.
He sold it so well. The chops right in front of the ref were egregious, but then they looked weak too, so I can buy referee's discretion.
Well, first of all, it was Rick Knox as well, so already there's the Rick Knox factor that he's incompetent as fuck. And like I saw a funny ass comment on Reddit. It just said like old man chops are too weak to count it as a distraction finish because they don't actually do any damage. I'm like, all right. I don't actually
like the zero damage. Yeah, they don't count as a DQ because they do zero damage.
Yeah, it's just like whatever, man. It's like people old ass man. But the low blow was hilarious. Like Christian gets like, and I think he used to run.
I think Nigel said it, and I saw so many tweets about like Christian's a baby face. Do you know how much good he's doing taking out Ric Flair's junk?
Or like, I also noticed that I don't know if it's new or not, but like they added like words to Christian's like countdown as well, where like there's like adjectives now to his countdown.
Oh no, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so like
I think that is definitely new.
Yeah, so they have that now, and Shivani was like commenting on it. It's like, look at all these words, it's all baloney. And he's like, I believe in adjectives. Yeah. So that's where that line came from.
I heard that line, but I didn't even pay attention to what they were actually talking about.
So that's probably why. It's I don't know, funny ass match. Like you said, it wasn't too long. They didn't do anything like super crazy other than that.
They actually held off on Adam Copeland and Christian really doing much at all together too.
Because he ran away the whole time. He's a fucking bitch.
Which is fine.
It's great.
Built to that big singles match. Don't give away a lot of them together. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the right people won. I really like the
Mhm.
finish that not Darby, sorry, Christian was just like, "Well, I'm out of here,"
Yeah.
and so that's gonna play into the story of him like not being a great dad this time to his new kids.
Mhm.
It's also like you
Tough
said, gonna
love.
add Copeland never got his hands on him, so they can keep doing that. I'm assuming they're probably gonna have a singles match at World's End. I don't know for
Mhm.
what's gonna happen, but that seems like the logical story. I
Yeah, I
would
think
say.
Sting and Darby are probably going to go off to another stuff now. Well, I mean, Darby might be climbing Everest. Who knows? So, yeah, I think their part in this story's done. Christian will pivot to be fully, with Adam Copeland. I mean, he might have some other allies too. He might need them, but
Yeah,
that's
because I
I don't
can't
know.
see Copeland being in the tournament either. 'Cause that doesn't sound like that
Oh, he
makes
might
sense.
beg to though.
He might try. I mean, I wouldn't
Him
complain
and
if he
Christian
was.
both in it would actually be cool.
I just don't think
But I don't
Christian,
know.
the
I don't
character,
know
would
if
give a
Christian would
shit.
want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kayfabe wise, why would he care? He's got his title. He
Well,
doesn't care.
kayfabe wise, he might not want to, but
He might get forced
he
to.
just might. Yeah, telling me, hey, our top stars are gonna be in this, so yeah, you're in it. That kind of
That's a good point. It'll be interesting. It would be interesting if they were both in it in like either the same or opposite brackets, and then like they both
Yeah, that
lose,
I would
but they
actually
can
do
kind of compare
opposite
notes.
because I don't know if you'd want to do their first singles match against each other in the tournament on
No, no,
TV.
you're right. You wouldn't want
So
to do
you would
that.
have to do opposite brackets, and they probably wouldn't both make it to the finals, which is fine. Kind of cool if they did, but I just don't see them with that New Japan and the ROH belt.
They
They
also
need,
said that there would be
that
no
aspect.
interferences, so they could do something silly like kind of fuckery where like they're
Mm.
both on each other's like on opposite brackets, but they kind of screw each other out of matches and get eliminated from the tournament or something like that.
Mm.
For example,
Mm.
I
I
don't
would
know. It
actually hate
could be interesting. But this match was fun. Like I said, like there's not much to talk about as far as the in ring. There wasn't any like other than the chokeslam spot. Like that was just
yeah.
stupid. Sting did a dive, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was like a pretty light dive to the outside
Mm.
compared to what he's done before. But yeah, I mean, I just I agree with you that it was a great opener. It got the crowd like pretty hype. They didn't do anything stupid with Ric Flair, thank God, and he didn't like do too much.
Mm.
And then they cleared the ring for Sting to take a tour, which was also really nice. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, that was nice.
We can move on to the next match because I think there's not much else to add there.
No, and that was the international title match. Nice. With Orange Cassidy retaining against John Moxley, which this is the one I think this is definitely a pivot, obviously, because I don't think John Moxley's original title reign, if he had never gotten concussed and lost to Phoenix, would have ended tonight.
May,
Do you?
I'm not 100% sure.
It could have this very way, even with Cassidy getting a win back, because I don't think the intention was for Orange Cassidy to never beat John Moxley after Moxley beat him the first time. I just don't
Exactly.
know if it would be this soon.
I agree with you on all of that. Basically, I think the plan now that the way they build that up, I believe that the plan was for Darby to beat Mox at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Mm-hmm.
agree with you that I'm not 100% sure what's supposed to happen here. But Moxley is not injured anymore, so he didn't need to like.
Mm-mm.
Maybe they just didn't want to have it so that they didn't want OC to lose twice to Moxley in a row.
Well, I just think as it progressed with the way the storyline had to go because of the injury, it made way more sense for Orange Cassidy to go ahead and just retain here. He didn't. I think it would have been like if he lost again,
Yeah,
and at this point, especially with the bill just the last 2 weeks for this one in particular, I thought like, holy shit! I kept saying it every time they had a segment. Like Orange Cassidy has to win this time.
yeah. I agreed with you story wise. Like it just kind of has to, especially like after
Mm-hmm.
the punches didn't do shit last week. That's when I was like, I think OC is winning because they're
Yeah.
kind of showing that he's gonna have to find that extra gear, and I really don't think they're gonna be like he didn't find that extra gear again. Like, nah, that's not really the stories they like to tell. And on top of that, I think this is huge for OC in the sense that now that he's beaten Moxley, he's like a legitimate main eventer. Not that he wasn't before.
Over Moxley and Jericho, like two of the
Yeah.
few AEW world champions in history.
Exactly.
And yeah, it's insane. The match itself, though, like it wasn't anywhere close to their all-out match. Like I don't think anyone would disagree there. And putting it second on the card, like they definitely wrestled like kind of a second on the card match. Very good, but just like I don't think I actually even really have a lot to say about it. It was shorter than I expected. kind of in a vacuum, but for second on the card, not really.
Yeah.
And looking at the other match times, I'm not surprised it was on the short end either. But I think just Orange Cassidy getting the win, that's moment enough for me. I didn't need it to be as crazy. They've already had kind of their crazy match.
And he won a
I
brawl.
was just ready to see after Orange Cassidy won, if he won, just what does that mean for him? So kind of don't mind that this was just like, yeah, they did the match. Orange Cassidy got his win. Okay, now let's go because that's what I was ready for. So, but yeah, like definitely I'd actually say one of the weaker matches on the card, even though I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. It was a match that I don't really have much to say as far as the. There's a few things I will say actually that I do remember that I thought were interesting. Mox doing the kicks was interesting. Also, the fact that OC kind of just won like a brawl, so like he won in a way that was like in Mox's wheelhouse, which I think is like pretty important as well. He didn't just win, like he didn't barely win, like he put John Moxley away straight up. He didn't get
roll up,
no roll up bullshit.
Break, right?
Yeah, he beat his ass. So I think like that feud is over.
It's over. Too. Even though it's 1-1, but I mean they can run that third one back way later.
I would too. I would wait. They don't need to do it. I honestly think that like weirdly enough, Orange should just like drop the belt ASAP now and just move on to the main event scene. And I know that sounds kind of weird.
It just depends on what the other plans are for the main event scene. But yeah, I would love like an Orange Cassidy Swerve feud.
I was about to say that.
This new vicious, like willing to do whatever it takes. Orange Cassidy. Swerve already is doing the thing where he's pushing people. More of that out of them. I think it'd be cool.
Plus, Swerve beating OC now that OC's beaten Moxley would mean a lot, and it would get big ass heat because OC's very over, much like Hangman is actually. But I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen with Swerve? Swerve can like go like right to MJF now too, like easily.
Yep.
We'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah. There's not much to say about this match other than it was like a definitive win by OC. Like no doubts at all. He just won. So good for him. I'm actually really happy he won, just like you, and I'm very curious to see where they go with it. Like I said, whether he drops the belt shortly or who's going to be his next opponent, really.
Or not even maybe next opponent, because they might go ahead and do the thing where he just defends against kind of a rando in a good match on Dynamite. But who's going to be his next real feud for sure?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What's going on with the best friends? It's all kind of weird. With Trent's been really vicious himself too, but they've still been coming out sporadically with each other, but they've been alone a lot more.
A lot less hugging.
It's weird. Yeah, both of them, or not both of them, but all of them. And Chuck's just been fucking gone. I don't know. He might actually be hurt or something, or maybe he's just taking a little break. I don't know.
And there's the Hook factor too.
Hook's been weaseling his way in there.
So maybe we get Hook against OC next.
Yeah, and Chris Statlander's still coming out with them every now and then, but obviously she always kind of does her own thing.
Well, she's also pure good. Like she's not. She's the purest good out of all of them. So she's always.
Danhausen obviously still missing game action. I don't know. I just feel like there's more of a story to be told there with the best friends too in Orange Cassidy. I don't necessarily want them to break up or anything, but it almost kind of seems like they're going on the same path, like Orange Cassidy and Trent though, because Trent's been, I don't know, man. Something's up with Trent lately. Like not in a bad way at all.
No, he's pissed off.
I just don't know. I don't know what's cooking there with Trent basically, but something is.
I could see them maybe not necessarily joining Blackpool Combat Club, but having a similar arc where they get tougher. And they're more. They kind of get more in the middle. But if they do that, that means that they probably need to elevate another like faction as faces because
I don't know.
Because the elite are also going gray, right? So it's like this is a lot of factions that are not faces. You need some faces somewhere.
I don't even know how I'd book it, honestly.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of weird, but maybe the best friend stuff could kind of end up being like not a big deal. Maybe they'll just have a little bit more of an edge. We keep doing what they're doing too. Like, it may be okay, but I don't know. I just feel like there's more there, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, I guess there's other faces they could elevate anyways. Like there's always the Luchas you can make it into super faces. That's like super easy.
And LFI is currently babyface too now,
which is so weird, but it works.
Shocking to me that Andrade is just not with them at all anymore. Since I thought the reason was because of the alignment difference since Andrade came back babyface, but they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Going back up,
I wonder if there's some.
Don't got to be together all the time. Just the loose alliance was fine,
Yeah, it's very. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're doing with that
Yeah.
specifically. You're right though, with the specific of the of Andrade and LFI. Like, I don't know if there's like a personal thing going on, or I don't know.
Yeah, so this comment down here from Sky though is like I agree because you always have to have at least like two dumb people it seems that can never use their brain, and that's why the factions can't ever use their numbers to the advantage.
Yeah, no, Sky's right. Like, it's a thing that only seems to really work effectively in Japan and in Mexico, I guess. In Mexico,
Yeah,
because like alignments don't matter as much in Mexico. Like, you're either a technico or you're a rudo, and there's like there's not you can still do like sketchy things as a technical,
yeah,
right? You don't just and same with like chaos is a weird faction, right? Because they're baby faces,
yeah.
but
At
they're
this
kind of
point, they're
like they're
basically
very
just
over.
like they're just bachelor friends, that hang
Yeah,
out and wrestle together sometimes. That's how it was described by one of the announcers.
and like yeah, and even like LFI, like or not LFI, but Ingorbernables in like
Mhm.
Lij, like not so much anymore, but like for the longest time, like there were faces who cheated like all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They wouldn't like interfere, but they would still just wrestle dirty.
Yes,
That was
that's
the
right.
thing. Because no, even the heels in Japan never fucking interfered till House Georgia. But we don't need to go on that tangent.
Let's not talk about House
I'm
of Black.
actually fine to. We can move
Or
on
House of-
to this the women's title match, which was next. I'll let you lead in though. Let me step away just for like
Yeah,
5
yeah, of
seconds.
course, of course. Yeah, so next we had the wait, what which match did you have? I thought I have the Hangman match is next. I think that's the next. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's the women's match. That's right. Sheeta versus Timeless Tony Storm. This match was a bit not what I expected actually. So, and not necessarily in a bad way. I was expecting a bit more of a like technical masterclass kind of match, just because of how Sheeta and Tony, that's the kind of their strength. But it was more of a character match. There's a lot of silly comedy stuff in it. Still some good wrestling as well, but like Tony was in full like I don't know, like wrestling villain mode.
Yeah, even her gear was like I don't know if it was like a 1-to-1 parody of anyone in particular, just like amalgamation, whatever that word is, conglomeration of whatever, like just old timey wrestling gear, the singlet.
Very
But then she
like a
did the
Mildred.
big wind up arm spot. Yeah, like that was weird. Definitely not the match I expected. I still liked it. Glad they didn't do like the whole match in black and white or something. I kind of feared they might.
I'm happy they didn't do that. I was not down
Yeah.
with that idea. That's too much for me.
I love I don't the finish itself was whatever. It was kind of basic, but the post match though, with all the
Sky's right on this one.
presentation was hilarious. Oh yeah. But
Yeah,
Mariah coming out with the flowers right when Nigel's like, "Give her flowers." That was perfect.
the timing, Mariah watching in the back was really hilarious too. Like
What?
wearing absolutely like nothing, watching the show too.
Oh my god.
So ridiculous.
What did Blaze want us to specifically mention?
He just wants to
Brandon
mention,
Blaze about his.
and he's just very happy that Tony won.
Yeah.
He's very happy.
Yeah. He's
Blaze is always happy when Tony wins.
Yeah.
And this was one of those matches where I know that like last week and on the website as well, like I mentioned a lot of times that I really wanted Sheeta to have a longer reign and not lose, and I thought that she would be fine. She would be fine. Like Tony would be fine losing here.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still think it's fine. Like it sucks for Sheeta. I'll start off by saying that like it sucks that she gets 2 transitional reigns in a row. Soraya at this point should have never won the belt. I have to take my take back, and I have to be like, no, I can't.
In hindsight, it's way worse.
It's
like,
worse.
The reign was so unmemorable.
Yeah, I was soft on the reign at first because I was expecting Soraya to actually defend it and maybe do a couple of stories and then drop it quickly.
I wouldn't have even I wouldn't have minded if she dropped it as quick as she did. She had like 1 defense prior to that, maybe.
And it was a non-story defense, so it was not good.
Yeah,
it was a really stupid reign. I get why they wanted to do it at the time they did it. I was there live. The reaction was great. The follow through was shit. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. The follow through was shit.
But yeah, I have no issues with Tony winning too. I do agree it sucks for Sheeta, but striking on this Tony, and I think I have like a vision of where the Tony angle can definitely go with her as champion. I think it's just gonna be great. I don't know when Jamie will be back, if they'll go right to Jamie when she does. But if they don't or can't for whatever reason, I think you can build so much with Mariah there.
Mariah,
Just with Tony just winning and having a decently long reign.
which she
with
should.
Mariah right by her side the whole way. Yeah.
Which you should. Like the two main things that I really want out of this result. I want Tony to have a good reign. So there's no more like asterisks beside any of her reigns. It's a real reign that's lasts
Yeah,
more
with
than
the
a month.
over gimmick. She's the most over woman in the company right now. Like easily.
Agreed.
So there's no need for this to be short. Like
there isn't, and she let her get her flowers, both like how she did last night and figuratively. But
did you see she didn't show up to the media scrum, but she left a handwritten note for Tony Khan to read?
I did not see that. That's amazing.
The note was actually posted online, and I saw Tony reading it too. I mean, it was just something like she had to leave on a flight instantly to go to someone's like beach house, talk rolls or something.
Oh my gosh, she's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
but the other thing I wanted to say about the follow through is that like that's one side. I really need them to do something with Sheeta after this too, though. Like she needs to be in a freaking story of some kind. She's only been just like they built up a nice thing with her and Britt, and then nothing happened. I'm assuming because Britt got hurt. I'm assuming that's why. I don't know that for a fact, but Britt's not been on TV since then, and it feels like it was
because Cole got hurt. I still think it might have something.
I mean, if she blew an angle with Sheeta because Cole got hurt, that's mega lame.
And in my theory, she's using not as an excuse Cole getting hurt, but just as since he's hurt anyway, and I've been fucking banged up forever, I might as well take some time now.
Yeah,
that's kind of my theory. Which is I'm not like criticizing her.
No, I know
because her back was fucked for so long. That was on the reality show. She was getting shot up every time she had to have a match.
Well, yeah, and I mean it was pretty obvious. Like she was having. It's ironic that the exact same thing that happened to Rosa happened to Britt, because that's exactly what happened to Rosa. She was trying to wrestle through the pain and having garbage matches, and that's exactly what happened to Britt too. Her match quality went down because she was hurt. To me, at least, that's what happened. Like it was pretty obvious that like she wasn't moving like she used to at all. And I know people like to shit on her work rate, but it was nowhere near that bad before. Clearly, she's hurt. But anyway, do something with Sheeta after this. Don't let her just disappear off TV for another 2 months. I'll be really pissed off if that happens.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have to say. Amazing win for Tony. Honestly, like probably the right decision as well. I can't really argue against it. Like she's super over. Strike while the iron hot. Same thing as the other women's match that we're going to talk about. I mean, if they're going to strike while the iron's hot and actually like do good follow through with this is really good. It's really good for the women's division. So, I mean, yeah. And we had two women's matches on the pay-per-view, which I thought was great. That needs to be the goddamn standard, though. I don't want to see
in a perfect world. To me, you have both titles defended and like a lower-ish card feud on like the pre-show.
That would be the perfect ratio. If you can have two very important women's matches that are usually title matches and a low card women's match on the pre-show out of the 3 matches on the pre-show, that's the good 1-to-3 ratio that I'm okay with. Especially considering what they have. They have enough women now, like to be able.
Yeah. But before we get to the next women's match, there was a fucking insane match in between it. The ladder match for the World Tag Team titles. Let me see. Who was in this match?
Oh my God!
The champions, obviously Big Bill and Ricky Starks, they retained against the Kings of the Black Throne, Brody King and Malachi Black, FTR, and the LFI team of Drilistico and Roosh.
I fucking love this match.
It went 20 minutes.
It went really long. It went really long. Yeah. Dude, this match was insane though. Like, some of the spot, the pile driver thing or the Gonzo bomb, the Gonzo bomb on the ladder.
He did 2 that were insane.
Like, but the one on the ladder where he like stepped a few steps. Okay, first of all, I thought he was gonna fall through the ladder, or the ladder was just gonna break. And then like the worst part is like I watched the replay and it was like super safe, which was crazy.
There's a couple of those, like we'll get to more in the main event, but Max's stupid ass elbow drop was not necessarily safe for him, but I did see on the replay, holy shit, he protected Jay White like crazy. We'll get to that more later, but yeah, it's kind of funny. The replay is exposed.
Oh man, but yes,
exposed some safety that AEW isn't supposed to be known about in some cases, and then there was also some that definitely didn't look very safe, but
there was not a lot of like, I mean, I'm saying the spot was safe, but I mean like relatively safe for what the spot was. It was still a freaking pile driver on a ladder.
no, and in general too, like I saw Dax for sure posted pictures, and I think I can't remember who, maybe Ricky, but maybe one of the I think it may have been Roosh actually, but just these little cuts and nicks or whatever, just from getting ladders are just fucking flying around. Like, yeah, there's so much inherent danger. And these matches with the more ladders, the more bodies involved, like the more nervous I get for sure. I didn't think this one necessarily needed the ladder stipulation when it was added, but it obviously made it a lot better, and everyone seems fine after it. So
especially with the finish, they did
success. And I was actually just about to say that, and it's genius because I believe in kayfabe, Ricky Starks is one that asked for it to be the ladder match.
He did, and he specifically said because Big Bill's tall.
Yeah. And the announcers pointed it out late in the match. Like Ricky himself hadn't even been involved a lot, and put over how genius that was because he's fresher. He can climb the ladder faster. He hasn't taken, crazy punishment. It was really a logical ladder match, I thought.
Yeah.
Especially at least from the winning team's point of view. I'm not going to say like every bit of every spot from the other teams necessarily had logic.
No, but it's a ladder match. Who gives a shit? It's a spot.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But one more thing too that I want to say, it might be the last like real big point I have. Malachi Black looked really good. There's always that worry, like, oh, he hasn't done a singles match in like fucking years at this point. Like, is he actually okay? I mean, man, he's doing this shit. He has to be okay. I don't know why he's not doing singles matches, but clearly anything wrong with him.
I mean, he had what I feel was the best spot of the match when he shot the ladder off the ropes right onto the guy's face. Shit was genius and brutal.
Yeah, I love spots like that. Little ladder rebounds. They're usually the real dangerous ones.
Because you don't know which one.
I'll never forget when the Hardys did their little leapfrog thing they always did, and it just broke Joey Mercury's face like crazy.
Oh man, this is a dangerous match. But I was really shocked by the winner. Well, no, that's not true. I wouldn't say shocked by the winners. Surprised, because I didn't think they were gonna hold on to the titles. And I thought for sure that they were gonna do my prediction was that they were just gonna do House of Black wins every match kind of thing.
I do think this whole tag title scene has definitely itself been a pivot too. I'm just not exactly sure which parts are the full pivots in it. I just definitely know between the Bucks weird winning the title shot, never using it until they put it on the line tonight. FTR and the Big Bill Ricky Starks angle seemed incomplete, but they also seem to be moving on. Just some stuff fell through for whatever, and I don't even know why or what it would have been. So it's kind of weird, and that's why I'm not necessarily shocked they won, because it seemed like, let's just move on with this. I think they're going to do a bunch of fresher stuff with everyone. Especially like FTR, I think might just go on start teaming with Adam Copeland. I could see LFI staying in the tag division, tag title scene, and the House of Black are probably just going to feud with BCC like we talked about. So.
Yeah, which all sounds like good shit.
But it's weird too because even Ricky Starks said they're not a tag team. They are two singles wrestlers who are good at tag team.
Which is funny because that's like I feel like he's leaning a little bit into the WWE trope there. That what people say about the WWE tag division. That's what people always. I've said that. It's just a trope. But yeah,
it's funny too. I like to imagine Tony Khan presented the tag team to them that way because, like on TEW, there's options. You have like them that you can do them as a unit, and that's like a tag team. They're always going to tag whenever available, and then you can do it as just like like an alliance or whatever the thing. But it like specifically says like a tag team of like singles baby faces. That team. Every now and then, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting angle, and like I think it does solidify. It solidifies their run too now, right? So now we know, like, okay, well, this isn't just some like transitional stuff. Like, this is a real run, and now also like we'll get to the winners of the other match later on, but like we're gonna get Big Bill and Ricky Starks against Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, which is like
hopefully I will say because I am still a little peeved with the whole Young Buck thing because I don't know what exactly went wrong. We thought we were going to get Young Bucks versus someone, FTR, Big Bill, Ricky, at this pay-per-view.
Did you not see Brendan Cutler's tweet?
No. I did see this. I'm just talking about like how at the end of Wrestle Dream, we thought the Young Bucks were going to get a title match at Full Gear because of their title shot win. So I'm not like going to commit to saying that Jericho and Kenny will get their title shot like anytime in the next month necessarily.
They could pull the rug from
But I
under
do
us
think they
again.
will this time because I think that was like a course correction itself on.
But like that's like the weirdest fucking match I could ever think
If it's
of.
at World's End, that's kind of awesome. But
I don't think it's gonna be a World's End.
I think I'd just do it on TV. I'd do it on a collision. Yeah. I think it'd be a great collision.
I don't. And I mean, all due respect to the like performers involved, I really don't be needing another Jericho Omega tag match on pay-per-view. I just don't need it.
Oh no,
I don't want
to. I would prefer Kenny involved in other things.
Me too. And like the Jericho Vortex is fine forever.
Probably fine for Jericho, honestly. But
of course, it's fine for Jericho. Kenny. It's always fine for Jericho. That's the fucking thing. And I really like Jericho. I'm not a Jericho hater whatsoever, but it's getting ridiculous again.
I mean, we talk about it with every one of his feuds. When they last too long, it just kind of hurts everyone. They have to move on quicker, and because the first parts are always like really good for most of Jericho's feuds.
Yeah,
like Adam Cole did not last too long. It was really, really good.
And the Ricky one same was short, sweet. That was fine. It ended quickly. But it's when he's in these multi-man feuds, just fucking drag on forever.
Yeah, he can't not be involved in faction warfare.
To the point where
probably my biggest criticism of his AEW run that I have overall enjoyed, but God, yes, that's been what's making me not enjoy it as much.
Yeah, because unfortunately, like for example, it's made Takeshita suffer in this case because now Takeshita's not on TV as much, and he's not getting singles matches as much, so he's not looking dominant. And now they've got Hobbs on that team too, so he has to be
tired
also
of dominant. Both Hobbs and Takeshita at the same time too.
Exactly.
In the same faction, like it's possible you can do it. But
I mean, if you have them tag, it would be cooler. You got two dudes that just fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Anyways, this ladder match was crazy though. Like, I really like the finish where he held the ladder for him instead of the refs. Also good.
I also like that Ricky just like kind of dropped the belt down for Bill to catch and
dropped it down. Yeah, man, that was good shit. Not much else to see. Even Blaze agrees. Like I'm in the same boat as Blaze. Jericho is also one of my all-time favorites. But
I like consistently rank Jericho in a top 10 when I've been forced to put him down. I don't know if he still would be or not necessarily, but yeah, he's always definitely up there.
Yeah,
for me too.
Like it's just less is more sometimes.
But I don't think I have anything else really to add to this match other than just I'm definitely excited for where all four of the teams go next though. A few of them I think I can predict and I'm excited. Others I can't and I'm excited. So
it's one of the themes of this pay-per-view too. I found that there was a lot of finality to a lot of things and starting new things. It feels like we're really getting to we're getting to some new stories.
And I think World's End is going to culminate a lot of more stuff too. I feel like maybe more of the world title scene, but we'll see about that. And obviously,
I feel like this month leading up to World's End is going to be I don't know if it's going to be the end of the MJF run per se, because I can't predict that fully, but I think it's going to be we're going to be wrapping up this part of the arc, and we're going to get some progression and some finality to whatever the fuck we're getting. I don't know. I still don't know what we're getting, honestly. I have theories, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We can move on to the next one, bud.
Speaking of progression, I would say Julia Hart defeated Chris Statlander and Sky Blue to win the TBS title at 22 years old, 23 years old. Youngest AEW champion in history.
Yep, that's right, because Punk doesn't count.
Yeah, the progression both her and Sky Blue, I will say, have made is insane because this was a really good match.
So I'll start off by saying that this was Sky Blue's and Julia's best match ever, period. No doubts about it.
Probably for sure, yeah. Three-ways are harder to do that without me looking hokey and shit.
Yeah, Sky especially, I thought was bomb in this match. She was so good in this match.
And not to not mention Chris at all, because I thought she was kind of the glue that held all of it together.
Of course she was. Chris rules.
Without her, it could have actually fell apart a few times, but she kept everyone exactly where they needed to be, essentially. Sometimes she just threw them, but they were where they needed to be.
Maybe we should rename her to the base goddess instead of the base god, because you're 100% correct. She made everybody look so damn good in this match. Nothing was botched in this match. Everything was really smooth. I like Sky's new theme is really freaking awesome as well. Cool. She's kind of like a weird death metal Ice Princess, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
They have
I'm
like
not really
roses on her
sure.
crown. Yeah, there were like roses on her crown or flowers or something. Like,
Yeah, she threw away. She threw away the Cora Jade hat though, so that's cool.
yeah,
Um, so
backwards
now,
cap.
so now we really can't compare them ever anymore.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really good progression, like you said, like theme of this match specifically.
Mhm.
This match is bang, man. I thought it was better than the Tony Shida match, which is a crazy fucking thing
A
to
lot
say
better actually too,
because like
which I would have never expected. Yeah.
no, because it's like I said earlier in the pod, like I thought that I was expecting like a masterclass from Shida and from Shida and Tony, which they did.
Mhm.
The match was still really good, but that's not the direction they went. And I don't think that was a wrong decision either. It also explains why they had the women's title match before this match. This match was actually the right decision to put later because of how it went
Mhm.
and because of the
I
quality.
agree. Yeah.
Especially that they went more comedy with the Tony stuff. I think it was smarter
Mhm.
to put it earlier in the match. But man,
Yeah.
like
Well, definitely the card progression itself too was good for the show. Like to that point, I
yeah,
thought
I really
card
liked
order,
a
I guess.
lot of the reversals in this match, like for
Mhm.
the finishers. The positioning was really good. Like nobody was out of position to like do the save or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and the finish was brilliant, honestly. Like it made Chris Statlander look like the beast she is. She hit her finish. She put Sky away. She was done. And then Joe's like, "No, I'm just gonna like hit you in the back of the head and steal your pin and
My
run
one
away."
nitpick is the clothesline itself on the finish looked a little weak, but it was really cool how she hit the clothesline and slid right into position for the pin.
She was really quick
Like
about it.
she couldn't have really done that if she did like a boot to the face or something, which would have probably looked more impactful. But
Yeah,
yeah, so like yeah, that was cool, and she got the pin real quick right after that, which made it even better
yeah,
because it's
and
such a flash pin. Like, oh shit, yeah,
Statlander sold it the right way too, where she didn't look like she was completely hurt. She was like, "Oh, as if you just got that one over me."
yeah, because it was just 3 seconds. Like it's not like
That's
she
all
got
it
me
takes.
KO'd.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, because Sky was the one KO'd. That's what mattered.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great because like this feud can keep going. Like those three girls can keep feuding.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I hope they do because I actually
I
like the
do want
story.
Julia to get a singles win over Chris at one point, though. I don't think that would hurt Chris too much. That's just always kind of my thing. Like, you can have someone win a title in a 3-way and protect the champion, but at least at some point, not if it doesn't have to be right away. Like, they need to get that win back over the champion, or unless your plan is to just give the champion the title back, that's your long term plan.
My only
Which is
issue
I don't think they
with
should do it here, but that's fine.
yeah, my only issue with that though is that doesn't work so well if they want Chris to go right into the world title scene,
Exactly. Yeah.
which I think they might. So I don't think she needs to lose. You know what I mean? But traditionally, I would agree with you. Like I prefer.
That's why I'm even like down the road. It's like it can be like a year from now. It can be in a tournament or something. I would just like that finality of like, oh, she actually can beat her 1-on-1 too. Like,
Yeah, I agree with you on
and I
that.
think fans remember it somewhat more than people realize. It's actually a lot harder. It's even harder nowadays just with the total amount of wrestling to even remember stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I do think it still is on a lot of fans. They'll remember the 3-way, especially because this was a really good match.
yeah. I mean, like quite frankly, this was my second favorite match of the night, straight up.
Oh, it was up there. I think I put the ladder match over it. I mean, obviously, we know our favorite match, which we'll
Yes.
get to because I believe it's
Yeah, I mean, there's no
But
question.
I think I put the ladder match over it, but that's close. And maybe the semi-main tag too.
I
don't
really,
know.
yeah,
Close
I
though.
really like the Bucks match too. To be quite frankly, I really like that match.
But
But
I actually think I would rank this over Moxley and like OC, which is kind of insane
absolutely,
to
yeah,
think about.
I think it's easily top 3 or 4 match of the night, depending on how you rank things on what you like. Like I think the ladder match was like a better like spot match, but I
I
really
think
like.
most people would have had it as their lowest. Like, if you're predicting match quality, would have had it at the lowest end. Like, I think most people would have had it below Sheeta, Tony, and
Yeah,
probably below all the men's matches.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I just
So
I
yeah,
don't know.
that's good.
This
Credit to
was
who put together the match too. Like, producer wise.
yeah. Whoever agent in that match did a
I'm
great
always
job.
curious. I like when those things leak out because I always like to know.
Usually,
You
usually it takes about a week. I think usually like
Yeah.
SRS is good at posting those. Like he
They
always
used to get them quicker. I feel like it was always like the next day for WWE and AEW. But yeah, it's been later lately. I
yeah.
always forget to look.
I'm sure it'll be there. But yeah, this I honestly like if you like women's wrestling, I'd suggest anybody to watch this match. I thought like they've been cooking, man. The women's division's been cooking.
Especially this TBS like division, kind of.
Yeah,
I would say actually more than the main division outside of Tony, because even with Sheeta putting on the good matches, like I mean, your complaint was she hasn't really had character development forever, and
yep.
the Soraya reign was kind of a dud, and but the TBS division on like more on Collision and like Rampage and stuff, been a little like confusing with like the Sky Mist in some cases,
Sure,
but
yeah.
overall they've been doing really good stuff. Like these three particularly, along with like Willow and stuff. Made for a very entertaining division the last couple.
I mean, I'd even argue like the Mist stuff was kind of confusing at the time, but now that we know what Sky is, it makes sense. It's fine. She just
my theory seems completely correct to me too. Like
it just corrupts you.
the
Up
Mist
to
does not
degree,
like
right?
turn you evil, but it can bring out other stuff, and you can fight it, and you can like maybe only halfway turn evil, like Penta did, and not fully side up. And some of them might just join completely. Who knows? Like it can vary person to person.
It worked completely on Julia. It didn't work on a few other people.
Took forever for Julia though. Like she fought it for a while in a kayfabe,
and it did absolutely nothing to Willow because Willow's too pure.
Yeah, so she had eye makeup for like 1 week, but that's the quickest I've ever seen anyone beat it.
She's like, nah, I'm good. I'm all right.
Yeah. Miro went fucking insane, like
Miro went. I mean,
it affected him.
Pac went blind for a bit, but he's like, "Lol, I'm already an asshole, guys. It's okay."
Pretty much my theory with Pac, yeah. But I don't think I really have much else to add to this match. If you would like to move on to the next one.
Yeah. All I have to really say is that like, freaking hail Julia! It's awesome that she won, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Like, I'm so happy for her. So happy for her. And she really deserves it.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's we're gonna get to me and you's match of the night. This match was just stupid.
I think most people's
unless you don't like death matches, I totally understand.
Which is fair. I don't actually mind that at all because, like I said before we started, this was pretty close to my own like limit at times of stuff that I can really say I enjoy watching.
It was a very rough match. It was a very like extremely violent match. I don't think I've ever seen a match that violent in AEW, and they've had quite a few.
Also, the longest match on the card by 2 seconds, according to Page.
How long was it? 30 minutes?
29 minutes and 46 seconds, with the main event going 29:44.
I'm pretty bang on.
Yeah. Well, it's usually easy predicting wrestling too, because honestly, they always just be like, go out there, go 10, go 15, go 20, go 20, whatever. It's like, go 17.
I mean, and it felt like 30 minutes that one because it was a slower paced match, but it was not boring at all. But yeah, like we opened up with like. I totally get if this wasn't your not you specifically, but if it wasn't certain people's jams, it was pretty gnarly. It was very, very, very bloody as well. Like
a lot of blood,
uncomfortably bloody.
I was gonna say the most uncomfortable spot was probably when Hangman drank the blood, and then when he spit it out, and you saw how much he actually did drink.
That part, and also there was another spot later in the match where, Swerve took a water bottle and poured it over his head, and it was just like a fountain of blood pouring out. Like there was like no water at all. It was pretty gross.
Yeah, it was crazy. And
where do we want to start here? I don't know.
We could just start. I mean, all the different weapons they use. There was barbed wire all throughout the match, which is like a Hangman specialty. He always uses that, but bro, he's wrapping it around people's necks. It got caught in his eye at one point, like we mentioned, when he got hit with the chair on the top rope.
When he wrapped it around Swerve's stomach and then flipped him around. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, some of it looks so.
How did they bleed to start? I don't remember what busted up Swerve. Was it the staple gun?
Yeah, because they got with that staple gun really, really early. And Swerve was just bleeding like crazy from it. When he stapled the drawing on his cheek, it didn't even take the first time, but the blood was already coming through. Pretty sure the staple just ripped through part of his cheek and he was bleeding, but then he still had to get stapled. So,
and then he was like, another one. And he stapled himself.
Why would you do it on the cheek instead of the forehead? I've seen stuff get stapled to people's foreheads before in wrestling. It doesn't seem near as bad.
That's probably why though. They're like, oh no, let's be worse.
But it gets just as loud of a pop. That's my point.
But Swerve is but I honestly think Swerve is a little bit.
No, he's a sicko.
He's got issues. And you can also tell his love. He reminds me a little bit of Bray in that sense, where he has a lot of love for horror and the way definitely the way he behaves and the way there's a lot of like horror killer kind of like scream kind of stuff. Not scream, but
Mm-hmm.
like you know what I mean, right? Like the like super tough like
Yeah,
psycho killer kind of stuff. Like when he would just kept walking forward as a very like
he
horror
kind of
trope.
gets in that like trance too.
Yeah,
Like he can be all happy, fun, swerve, but when
like he gets very dark and does that weird like
yeah,
dead stare, right?
mm-hmm.
But like the fact that he had staples inside his chest for most of the match was fucking gross.
Yeah,
Like he's looking like a DC villain, very like that guy from
mm-hmm.
what's it called there, from Aquaman, or is it
Oh
Aquaman?
yeah.
Without like the weird
I
like
think I know
bumpy
what you're talking
chests.
about.
It's either
Yeah,
Aquaman or another one. I get a lot of the like superhero stuff mixed up because there's so much of it
yeah.
now. But either way, he looked
Um,
absolutely nuts, man. The
and
blood
I
drinking
mean,
thing.
we can also talk about he did end up getting the win, which I don't think a lot of people were predicting, just because
No,
that's two in a row against Hangman, which I think is the right move though. You know, the 50-50 booking, I would have been like kind of like but I'm like, but it does make a lot of sense for Hangman to win, so I was kind of just accepting it. But Swerve winning changes a lot in my mind from like for like future booking perspective.
he went into this man's house and fucked with his kids and still fucking
Yeah.
won. Like that's crazy. Huge win. Huge win for Swerve. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first one was already big, but I was also expecting it to just go 50-50 and then maybe do a third one. I don't even think you need to do a third. Like how do you why
You
would you
don't
do
need
a
to
third one?
top that.
He won
Yeah.
twice.
I
You
do
can't,
wonder, is Hangman going to take time off? Or I guess if you don't have to, if you just put him in the Continental Classic, because that's like
seems like it
that can
would.
be a story reset for a lot of people where it gives them something to do. So you're not like, and where you kind of find more of an actual angle, you know, it gives you a month to kind of reset them where they're still on TV though. So,
Yeah, and I mean I would also argue that like as far as the Swerve side, like I can't really argue for anybody else. Like I know Joe has the deal with MJF, and other people are going for MJF, but I think like as far as kayfabe goes, like kayfabe victories,
mhm.
how is Swerve now the number one contender now?
Yeah, and the big theory, you know, for World's End is a multi-man, you know, match with MJF defending against all his enemies, basically. Um, so I don't know if Jay White would probably still be involved. I assume you could throw Swerve in there, Joe. And it might just be MJF versus Joe again too. The more these things are shaping up, I can see that now because he's kind of taking care of a few things. Obviously, the Kenny thing was on a time limit, so I don't
Of
think Kenny
course.
will be worked back in or anything because it's not really a reason if Kenny's still busy with other stuff. But who knows? Yeah.
It's interesting because like I've seen a theory too that, and I kind of thought about it. Like there's also like a small portion of me like he could be worked into the angle where he's the devil too,
Mm-hmm.
and it would kind of
Very
work.
horror like. Yeah.
And he's very evil. He's very cunning and manipulative. I don't think it's gonna be him, but you
No,
could.
but that's a possible. Like in kayfabe, they should almost be suspecting him because it's like a very swerve like thing to do. You know?
And he's always talking about hell and stuff too, right? So like
Yeah.
there's some fun stuff there. There's so many spots in this match that we can talk about though. Like the glass spot was
Mm-hmm. That was sick.
just six disgusting stuff. The cinder block spot was actually like ended up working out really well. It looked really
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
thought that
thought
was,
that
that
was
was done well this time.
there was a stomp spot. I don't remember exactly what the stomp spot was, but like it was pretty.
Hangman was on the barbed wire chair for one of them after he had already
That's what it
taken like
was.
something else right before it. Yeah, like maybe just powerbomb or something. But then he got stomped and fell back on the barbed wire chair.
Oh man, like I don't. It's hard to explain to people who haven't seen the match how brutal this match was, but like it started off 5 minutes in with a guy drinking another man's blood, and it got worse from there.
Yeah.
Like considerably worse
And
too.
you even had like I did see some people were like they weren't even like knocking the match. They were like, I still love this, but they were just like, I would have liked it more though, you know, if it didn't have that interference at the end. Whatever, I get it, but like the payoff to that interference was Nana taking that table bump, and that was more than worth it to me.
It was, and here's the thing. Here's my take, and this might like rub some people the wrong way, but like you're getting worked in a bit when you say stuff like this. The whole point of a heel is not to have a awesome match. A point of having a heel is to win at any cost. That's
And
what they
also
did.
like
What's the point of having a
when
heel faction if they're not going to help you win?
yes, when your client is legitimately dying and you're allowed to be out there as your manager license or whatever, bro, you're gonna do whatever it takes to literally save his life because you not necessarily because you care, but because you need the money. That's what Nana did.
Yeah, and I get it. Like I understand the whole like, oh, why would they like ruin such a great match with that? Like because that's the fucking point. The whole point is to be like, oh man, as if he would ruin this awesome match to have a cheap interference to win. Like, yeah,
I
he's a
agree,
fucking
but in
heel.
this match, I don't even think that applies because Nana put him out and it like reset the count and it allowed Swerve to realistically recover from the beating that should have ended the match and for all intents and purposes would have, instead of just going right back and essentially no selling it. It was like kayfabe reason why the ref stopped counting. Because once you stand to your feet, you fall back down. I believe in the rules. You don't start again. The opponent has to like hit them again or something. And Cage did fine his little bit. And then the on a table bump was fucking amazing. I was not saying anything bad about that.
I wasn't expecting Nana to take a bump ever. No. Not this bump either. That's crazy.
And I saw a tweet. It may have been from a Cubs fan. He was like, 1 year ago, Prince Nana was a last-minute replacement for a Ring of Honor manager.
Yeah, I don't remember who said that too, like in the on our website, but was saying that like, you know, they should be sending him some Tully some flowers because that whole situation ended up fucking aces for Nana. Like he came out with his own dancers. Shit was awesome.
Oh my god, I heard him called the Nunettes.
The Nunettes. Oh my god, I was calling him Swerve's baddies, but I like Nunettes more. That's so good. But also, like back to the interference, it also made 100% sense that it was Cage. Like him and Adam Page have had a 2 or 3 year long kind of rivalry. So like
they've had 3 matches together, 2 on pay-per-view, but no, 1 on pay-per-view.
But like so like out of anybody who is aligned with Nana, like makes perfect sense that he would be like, nah, fuck this guy. Plus he's like obviously like the most I don't know, the other guys are cool too, but the other guys are more tag guys, and it would have made less sense. I think it would only made sense for like Gates of Agony to come out if they all came out, as opposed to like not just. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the Cage stuff at all. Like it helped Swerve win. That makes sense to me.
And Swerve was also. It's not like he called for it necessarily too. You can still sell it like he was just out, like Nana, audible essentially, and. Swerve may have said before, no interference. That's why Nana never really got involved prior to like that when Swerve was like literally just 100% like kind of lose.
Yeah.
And then, Nana, could have like signal for Cage come out or something. He may have, and I just missed, I don't know. But, that makes perfect sense too. It's not like Swerve was the one trying to, I would say cheat, even though it isn't technically because no DQ. But I think Swerve would have, wanted to, in kayfabe, in my own headcanon of Swerve.
Yeah. I mean, my own
on his own. And it's probably not as happy that he did it, but he's still going to take it. He hit him with the cinder block the second he could because that's what you do in this kind of match.
I would assume he's not even going to bring it up because like as a heel, you don't give a shit. Like and like his whole point was to just kill Hangman. He did that. So
yeah, I'm kind of just more like headcanoning it because nothing on screen prevents it. Essentially, is what I'm saying.
Another good kayfabe.
No issue.
Another kayfabe thing I want to bring up with this specific result is it kind of bleeds into the tag match and the Bucks because it also plays into the story of no one came to help him. Speaking of Hangman.
Not at all.
So Swerve's boys helped him, but Hangman got his house broken into. He's getting murdered on pay-per-view, and they had their match next. They didn't fucking help him.
He literally alienated his true friends, the Dark Order, and now he has none.
Yeah, that's another great point, by the way. He should have joined the Dark Order, and now he's like, "What did I do?" Like it's the same fucking shit again. He's getting screwed over. He's once again like the least important member of.
I don't know where Hangman goes from this, honestly. I mean, I think he's going to be perpetually over, but yeah, like
I think he's going to be not very happy.
Not looking great. Yeah,
I think he's.
I don't know.
I kind of want him to like maybe. I wouldn't mind him going after Kenny again because they never really got a closure. Like we got the closure as far as the match, but like that's not really like an epilogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we got the match, but we never got like because Kenny was hurt. There was never any like, hey, like let's have another match or like let's talk it out. Like we've got a few segments on DTE and a few things here and there, but never some like we didn't get a lot of meat there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be a good time to do that. We'll see, I guess. I'm with you though. I'm not really sure where Hangman goes. I think Swerve's path is a bit more defined, whereas Hangman is a bit more in the air. But he's out here again though. He's relevant again. That's for damn sure. Even though he lost, he's relevant.
You can't have two matches like he has the last two pay-per-views within a month of each other, even in losses, and fade away, essentially. You know?
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty damn protected in both matches too, right? So like I don't think he loses really. Swerve games, but like Hangman can win 2 more matches tomorrow, like next week, and like he's back on track. Doesn't matter. Or he can just be in a loser story, and like that's fine too. Just give him something to do. As long as on TV, I'm happy with that. Next we've got the Bucks. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was just saying. Yeah, Jets against Bucks. This was a pretty interesting one actually, especially with some of what's going on online now, which I personally think is a fucking work. But just because, like, why would you get Brendan Cutler to tweet that when the Bucks themselves tweet shit all the fucking time, and like they're usually passive aggressive by themselves.
Yeah, Cutler, but yeah, I mean this match though, it is actually I'd say pretty much exactly how I expected to play out.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Between the Bucks doing the cheating and all that stuff, like yeah, I mean, literally like almost spot for spot what I was thinking.
And
it was good. I really liked it.
I mean, I thought it was really good storytelling, and I know like people like say like, oh, the Bucks don't do storytelling. This match itself was a lot of storytelling, all the way to the ending, which was Kenny like be like, all right, you guys are being brats, and Big Brother's gonna put your asses away now, and which is pretty much a story. Like he's disappointed in them, right? And he's Big Brothering them. He's like, why are you guys this upset over like just me tagging with someone while you guys are just kind of like bitching, like whatever you guys are, like, especially like the Bucks never helped Kenny with anything with the Callis family, so like they have no real position to actually be that upset, right? Like they're right in what they're saying, but they're also massive hypocrites.
Yeah,
which I think is on purpose, right? It's on purpose.
Yeah,
and they're like, I actually really liked the match, and to the point where I actually thought the Bucks were going to win a few times, but they did really good.
Yeah, it was actually one of my top matches of the night. Honestly, I thought it was just worked really well, and yeah, like basically like the crowd could have been absolutely dead too after that death match,
and they weren't.
And maybe at the very beginning they were a little quieter, but no, for the most part they had the crowd all match, which I thought was really impressive. And
I mean, Nick Jackson,
even for these 4, I didn't know if they could do that after that match. Like,
it's true. And I didn't find they went like quote unquote like that hard, but they went like they went the right pace for the, and especially like we talked about it like live yesterday because you were saying like, oh, they put them in the death spot, and like they kind of did like they put them in a double death spot because not only were they the match before the main event, which is usually one of the worst spots to be in, but also right after the hottest match on the card. So like they kind of like, oh man, like how the hell do we follow that up? And they kind of did, honestly. It was exactly what the crowd needed. It didn't overstay its welcome. Though, how long was it? Do you know? Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, I got it right here. It was actually 20 minutes.
That's what I thought. Minutes. It felt like it went fairly long.
But to me, it did not feel that long, actually. Maybe a little bit more of the melodrama at the end. Yeah, I could kind of see it. But yeah, I was kind of shocked.
Oh, man. They're such cheesy actors. the tantrum was amazing. Oh, they look like such bitches.
Oh yeah, the fucking tantrum too. Yeah,
like
it's identical to one Jericho did apparently on a Nitro. You know.
Like, oh really? Okay. See, I didn't know that, but that makes perfect sense. See, I thought as well they were going for the Punk thing because the first thing Nick did was throw a chair.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And apparently,
we'll see what happens with them. And like we talked about before, the Golden Jets will most likely be getting a title shot. I expect it as a Collision main event probably coming soon.
That sounds right.
Against Big Bill and Ricky Starks, just because they're Collision regulars usually. So yeah, I think that'll be good. And as far as the Bucks, they're apparently taking time off. We'll see what that actually means. They might take a month, or something, but it's not gonna be.
Well, here's one thing I could say, especially with the Continental Classic running through this month till the next pay-per-view, we might see like a little bit less tag team matches because you're gonna have to run a bunch of singles matches. Like you just have to, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm kind of thinking of like the way New Japan thinks, right? Like a lot of times, like you won't see certain teams or certain performers for a little bit while they do tag league, for example, right?
Mm-hmm. So have certain titles defended. too.
Exactly.
You know, like
So I could see them maybe like just chilling out on that, which actually is like a good time to have like a random ass like Kenny Omega, like. But then I'm like, is Kenny now going to be in the Continental Classic?
I don't know. Yeah, who knows?
I feel like he kind of has to be. It'd be kind of weird if he.
Yeah.
I mean, Danielson and Takeshita's in it. If Kenny's not in it, like I feel like I'm going to be a bit upset. Unless he's just too banged up, which is like totally fair. Like but I don't know. Like he was taking some pretty gnarly stuff even in this match. Like it's not like he was like being protected in this specific tag match. He did more work than Jericho, honestly. Like
he actually did for sure.
He was beating the shit out of the. But one thing that was interesting in this match, actually, I didn't want to bring up was when they did the V trigger spot, and they had Kenny or Jericho on one side and Nick on the other side, or it might have been Matt. Doesn't fucking matter. And then he like Kenny made it look like he was just going to turn on Jericho, and then he didn't, which I thought was actually like that's an interesting weird tease. Like it kind of feels like he's actually kind of pissed off at the Bucks now.
Yeah, because why would he do that? Why wouldn't he just wrestle his wrestling match against them? You know?
Yeah, but I think he was also pissed. I think was that before or after the nut shots?
That was definitely after. It was before he got hit with his own one-winged angel, though, by like Nick, I believe.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was a terrible one-winged angel, by the way.
Yes. Oh my god.
Because Kenny hit the floor before Matt Jackson's ass did, so it just looked terrible. But yeah, I don't know what's happening with the Bucks now at all. Like that meltdown was epic and hilarious. I'm also really happy Jericho didn't get the pin, by the way. Fuck that. That would have been horrible.
Yeah.
That would have been horrible. Kenny getting the pin over his own guys makes way more sense. And also,
I agree.
Jericho's gets enough wins. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here, man. Like, I really don't. We can kind of move on, I guess. But yeah, for those who didn't see, the Bucks are taking time off. So
yeah, that makes sense. True. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the main event before I got to dip out of here.
Oh, yeah. We're on short time.
Kind of already talked about a good bit of it, but obviously, so Adam Cole was booked into this main event with Jay White, coming out on crutches. Right before the match started, obviously MJF does the ambulance gimmick and, arrives, and we have the match. He's just working it with his hurt leg. Match itself has interference throughout, ref bumps, the whole 9 yards of that, but no turn, nothing like that.
Nope.
And there was a few spots where like Adam Cole and Nigel made a point, kind of fucked MJF, but by accident, at least for now.
And he almost he teased throwing in the towel too.
Yeah, definitely some interesting facial expressions by both men at the end too, towards each other, I would say. But MJF did end up retaining through a lot of cheating of his own. Was the story of that?
Yeah, indeed. And I did think the facial expressions you just mentioned is a great point. I thought, especially Adam Cole, I'm not sure the kind of face and I brought this up in as a theory. Like he didn't look that happy that MJF was there. To me,
no, not at all.
And I think that's intentional. And the Brit tweets make me think like maybe she's like trying to like cover for him that he's injured.
Oh yeah.
When he's not actually, he could actually be like, I'm sure he actually is injured in real life, but like kayfabe wise, he's not injured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Another interesting thing, we got absolutely no Devil development. A lot of people, including both of us, were expecting some. How did you feel about not getting any of that?
Like a little disappointed, but when I thought back about it, I still think should have had something. Even though I said like beforehand, I was like, it doesn't need to just be like a bullshit cameo again. I don't want like something with meat on it. But then I started thinking, I'm like, well, they don't do the quarterly pay-per-view things anymore. They have one a month from now.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying again, we better get development at World's End though.
I mean, even I would be happy if we got some development even before that, honestly, because I think like a big angle on Dynamite would be fine. Then I'd be totally happy with it.
Yeah, I don't know what they necessarily could have done because they had something like I don't know. Like I think people would have. I don't think it would have made it any better if they just closed the show with like, random shot of the face again like they've done a few times. I think people would have been just as upset by that as nothing. So I don't
maybe more honestly. Maybe
more.
That
they didn't do that. So yeah, that part's whatever. But yeah, I'm more shocked than even disappointed by that. Only because I'm still kind of giving them a pass because I think the whole thing just got fucked up with Cole's injury anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I'm not.
So I don't know how long they're gonna have to stretch it. Basically,
I hope not much longer because I think that like people will be. I don't think people are going to complain too much about this one. because they
Yeah.
didn't they never advertised any of it either. So that's one thing. But
No real tease that it would happen, like regardless of an actual advertisement either.
no, they tease some devil stuff, but like it feels like maybe we're just still not quite at the like reveal part
Yeah.
yet, right? But they have to like talk like the only thing I had an issue with actually was it didn't really talk about it on commentary. And I think that was a mistake, I think you still need, even if they're not going to do anything, should always kind of remind you of it and like leave it in your head that it can happen.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
thought that
that.
was a bit of a mistake. The match itself was pretty good. Like I saw some people really were kind of bummed out by it, and that was actually kind of shocking. Like I thought it was really good. I know it was more of a like. I know you described. I really like this description that you said yesterday. You said Jay White was kind of like a Randy Orton that wrestles a Ric Flair '80s match, kind of thing,
Like
right?
one of those main event ones. Yep.
Yeah, and I thought that's really, and that's kind of what it was. It was a different flavor that we got from the night, right? I thought it was really well done, and I know some people said it was like Cena-esque, but like I don't know, man. Like damn, Jim cheated a shitload. It's
Other
not
than the
Cena-esque at
cheating
all.
part, like because Adam Cole was like fucking useless helping.
Yeah,
I'm not even giving him a pass with that broken ankle because he like actively hindered MJF a few
he
times,
was
like we
fucking him
talked about.
over.
And MJF was still able to overcome the guns interference multiple times. Jay White's own cheating, he just did it with his own cheating, which
Yes,
Cena obviously wouldn't have done. But yeah. So I kind of get the Cena parts there, but yeah, the cheating definitely isn't a Cena-esque
yeah.
part of it.
I will say to the people saying that, I will give you guys a bit of a like some credit, even like if I didn't think it was that bad. I think we've run the course of this kind of stuff with MJF though. I don't think you can do too much more of this kind of
Well,
matches.
and it's also you think about WWE does in all their big matches too. People just don't want to see the same shit.
Yeah,
Every pay per view main event, regardless of how many companies they watch. Like
yeah, I
if you
agree.
watch WWE and AEW, you don't want to see it for both companies' main event all the time.
Yeah, like they can't do this again. Like they can't keep
Yeah,
doing the whole like overcoming the odds MJF thing because like it's funny right
and you're
now.
already doing it in the
Parody.
ROH matches sometimes. They didn't with this tag match necessarily because Joe was just there and dominated,
I agree.
but they've done it. So
The kangaroo kick stuff when he was defending by himself
yeah.
was very similar, and I think it's too much now. They have to do something different. So I would not do this kind of match anymore after this one. This has to be the last one, I think. And if it
I
is,
agree with
if
that.
it is, I don't have a problem with it. If it keeps going, then I think the criticism is is
People will get more
right.
and more tired of it very, very quickly too. So I think as long as Tony does listen to that criticism, even if he does it one too many times, he should not be too stubborn. I bet he'll
Yeah, because
nip it.
like
Pretty soon.
you don't want him to be doing like the babyface version of Roman Reigns, right? Like that's bad.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed the match. I thought Jay looked fucking amazing.
And we got it before I jump off to talk
Yeah,
about that fucking elbow drop spot where the
dude.
table broke before it was meant to, and he still jumped off the top and landed on the hard floor. Oh my god!
So that started off as like a hilarious botch that was going to be instantly on Botchamania into one of the coolest spots of the night, which was like kudos to those guys for just being like, well,
Crazy.
fuck it, I'm doing this spot anyway. And you said like he protected Jay really well.
Yeah, you can see on the replay, he like actually barely made contact with Jay White at all. His elbow smashed what was left of the table, and his legs hit the ground hard though.
He's a true G, man. Like MJF is
Yeah.
crazy. You have to go. Are you getting too close to your heart out that you have to head out?
Give it like 2 minutes if we want to
2
wrap
minutes.
up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, final thoughts on the pay per view, and then I'll close the show by myself after you have to go. It's no problem.
Okay, yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, overall, my thoughts, I think it was very good pay-per-view. Just with the Adam Cole stuff being so weird to me throughout. Like, I really hope it has a good payoff because other than that, it's a little hard to shake despite how good pretty much all the matches were. That's just so weird. It's such a odd thing to do to promote a different main event for your match, even though you did eventually do the original one.
Yeah.
Which does make it better. I will never not say that. Like they alleviated a lot of complaints I think most people would have had with the situation because the original one was still delivered.
Yes.
Pretty sure they had to anyway because of the stupid DraftKings thing. So it was never in question. But
Yeah.
But yeah. So overall, just absolutely amazing pay-per-view. Match to match, I thought the card was ordered so well to flow that you didn't have any dead matches.
No, you're right.
Because the tag match we talked about did not lose the crowd after Swerve and Hangman. And everything before it was still hot. The pre-show was mostly hot, even though I had the beginning of the ROH title match when people were still coming in, like we said, was good. So Yeah, really good pay-per-view. Not probably like I don't think a top 3 AEW win of the year necessarily, because I think I kind of have those pegged already. But
I
up
agree.
there, like really good one. Not a disappointment whatsoever.
We didn't even talk about Will Ospreay, bro.
Oh, because it wasn't a scheduled match. But God, I mean, I kind of everyone knew.
Yeah, I'll talk.
I mean,
I'll
that
talk
was
about it
another good
myself.
moment, and kind of confirmed what everyone thought. Leaving New Japan, but he's finishing up the contract in February. Not coming to AEW yet. He has other even non-New Japan dates he's going.
Yeah, definitely not a
We'll
disappointment.
probably still do TNA if I had to guess for hard to
I
tell.
think he will. I think he will.
We'll see on that.
All right.
Yeah, so I will head out and let you wrap up. Been a good week, great pay per view,
great week.
and we'll have Survivor Series next weekend.
Yeah, see you next week, Chris, and I'll wrap this up. Thanks for coming by.
All right, sounds good.
So I'm going to wrap up a little bit by giving my thoughts on the pay-per-view as well. Like Chris said, I don't think it's going to be a pay-per-view of the year candidate as far as AEW goes. However, that doesn't make it any bad. Like I thought it was a really good pay-per-view as far as matches. I agree with Chris that the pace of the show was really well. It actually flew by. Sometimes during these AEW pay-per-views, I'll admit, like I start losing steam near the end. Sometimes I fall asleep a little bit. That wasn't the case here. There wasn't really any boring matches. I thought most of the orders and also the match length of most matches were really good. The Will Ospreay signing is awesome. If people are complaining about that, like I think you're crazy, respectfully. That's definitely not a disappointment. The biggest free agent in the world, really. Massive pop. Can't wait to see what we're gonna get from him. We did say that he wasn't gonna start right away, so we will be seeing him around the road to Revolution in 2024. So pretty much guaranteed a Will Ospreay match at next year's Revolution and Sting's last match. So that's quite far away, and we've already got some pretty big hype for that pay-per-view. That's awesome. A few other things I want to touch on before we wrap up. Oh, hold on, we've got a little message here. Let's see. As far as making a Jay White look weak, I don't think so because MJF cheated, first of all. He also looked really strong in the feud. So while I do agree that he doesn't look the strongest losing the match itself, I mean, he was dominating the whole feud. And if it wasn't for a lot of fuckery regarding Adam Cole, like I think he had MJF beat. And I definitely don't think it's the end of Jay White as a top player. I don't know if he's gonna get a title match like really soon. I'm thinking more in 2024, but I think the feud still like kind of gave you it showed you what Jay White looks like with the belt for a month, and I think that putting that image into people's head long term is good. And it means that he can be in title feuds at any time, and people are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Jay White's in a title feud. That's fine." Could the finish have protected him more? I'll say yes. He did look a little bit bad, but it is what it is. I do think he would have looked a bit better too if not so many people had kicked out of finishers earlier in the night. But like you said, Sky, it's top sports entertainment finish and build up. So I didn't mind it too much. Other things I want to close the show on was Chris Hero appeared at West Coast Pro. If you haven't checked that match out, the whole event is free on YouTube. I really recommend people go and watch it because Chris Hero looked phenomenal taking on Timothy Thatcher. He won the match, finally winning that feud. But they did a really good job at explaining the feud over the years as well. West Coast Pro put on a really good show. I honestly recommend that event to most people. It's free and it had a lot of really good matches. So definitely check that out. Check out Chris Hero. He's also going to be tagging with Kenta at the next West Coast Pro event against people that I forget. I think it was Kevin Blackwood and I forget the other person. So I do apologize for that. But it's going to be a really good match. Him tagging with Kenta is crazy. So definitely check out that West Coast Pro event. It was awesome. And the last thing I want to talk about, which was pretty buzz generating on Friday night, was Ronda Rousey showing up and doing a one-off match on Ring of Honor, which was the exact same match they did at Revolver. So she tagged with Marina Shafir against Billy Starks and Athena. I haven't seen the match because it was taped for ROH, so it's gonna be on ROH. I'm assuming next week. Pretty wild that she showed up unannounced, not live on television. Not sure how the networks feel about that. I think it's really cool. I know Ronda is a controversial figure. I've certainly had a lot of criticism towards Ronda in her time in WWE. Certainly am not a massive fan of her by any means. However, her doing indie dates, and I know RH is not necessarily an indie, but she is not signed to AEW as Tony Khan has confirmed. I think it's really interesting. I hope that she does more of these one-offs. I actually don't want her to sign with any company. I think it's much cooler that she just does matches that she wants to do wherever she wants, here and there. Keeps it special. Also, doesn't spotlight some of her more negative qualities as well. I'll leave it phrased that way. Really cool. I'm very curious to see how people are going to react to the match. I'm curious to see if it's going to bring more ROH subs. I don't know if it will. I'm sure we'll find out through the dirt sheets. That data will eventually come out, or Tony will tweet about it. Who knows? But it's very interesting. The only thing that negative I would have to say is, as cool as it would be to have Athena versus Ronda at Death Before Dishonor, which is not booked by any means, and I have no idea if it will be booked. I just don't want Billy Stark's story to be put to the wayside for Ronda, because it's kind of been the theme of how Ronda was booked in WWE, and I think that would be kind of a shitty look, and it would certainly be not a great look for Billy. So I hope that if they do bring Ronda in for more matches, it doesn't take away from other women's positions on the card, because it's a bad look. It's a bad perception for the company, and I think that they did a really good job with this pay-per-view at spotlighting a lot of women. So I don't want them to take some step backwards in that regards. That's pretty much all I have to say about the events of this week. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Brendan, Sky, thank you so much for being active in the chat. That's really awesome. We always appreciate that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great day.